Hey guys, I'm JanetOnOccasion, and today we're playing another Total Warhammer II Battle Replay. So this one was actually sent in by a subscriber. He's going by the name Megalodon in this one, but he goes by many names. So I'm sure he'll make himself known in the comment section. So anyway, he's playing as the Dark Elves, and he's against the Tomb Kings, who are actually played by Ninjahund. So always interesting to see, you know, a battle against Ninjahund. So here you can see he's got Malekith on a cold one, which I think is a great pick against Tomb Kings, because if they bring a lot of great bows, you know, a lot of his sharp-toothed great bows, they're just going to snipe out a dragon. It's pretty dangerous. So I think having a smaller target is great, especially when he's still got fantastic armor piercing. You know, 420 weapon strength, he's got armor piercing, he's got pretty good speed, so he should be able to get out of a fight pretty easily, and still really high armor, you know, so really useful, load of good spells, great melee attack defense, great charge bonus. Just, yeah, Malekith, even on a cold one, is stupidly formidable, so will be fantastic, and he's got great complement of spells, which we'll see in action a bit later. So here you can see he's got a front line of bleak swords. These guys will be able to defeat any sort of skeleton, you know, units, but the Tomb Guard they will struggle against. Also, you know, chariots and Ushabti, anything big will mess them up, but these guys will be great for screening out cheaper units. But in the back line, he has 3 units of Blackguard Nagarond, which is just terrifying. These guys will actually be able to kill any infantry, I think. I don't think they lose against any infantry. But obviously that's not what they're there for. They're there for killing the big monsters, the big constructs, with their really good armor piercing and anti-large. So really good. Also, he's got Hard Executioners. These guys will just tear through any of the infantry, but because they've got such good armor, and you know they've got good melee attack and defense, good weapon strength, armor piercing, they will still be able to whittle down any you know, sort of big unit pretty well. They're not going to be a pushover. So yeah, really formidable, and they will be able to do a lot of damage against Tomb Guard and things like that. They'll do great. So very formidable front line. But you notice no ranged units. He didn't go the usual route to bring a load of dark shards for the armor piercing to try and focus down the big monsters. No, he's just gone for this incredibly resilient sort of infantry corps, which I think is awesome. Also, in the trees here, you can see he's also got 2 units of Cold One Knights. So these guys, you know, anti-large, anti-armor, they're just very useful. And they are anti-large, aren't they? Yeah, they are. Of course they are. So these guys will be really good against the constructs, and also they can just sort of get anywhere they want. They'll be really good at sort of screening off chariots and things like that, and good for just blocking things in long enough for the Hargad Executioners to get on them. So they're going to be really good. So if we look at Ninjahund's army here, you see he's got 2 units of chariots, so the chariots will do great in the front line. They can do a lot of damage to all that infantry. Obviously, Blackguard you want to avoid, but even against Hargad Executioners, these guys can do some work. They are definitely not pushovers. So he's also got 2 units of Ushabti, just the standard ones, no great bows, as you can see, which is interesting. So he's got these 2 Ushabti. These guys will help punch through things like Hargad Executioners very well. Also, he's got 2 units of Skeleton Warriors on either flank, and then he has 4 units of Tomb Guard in the middle. He's led by Arcan, which is a great pick. I think Law of Death is fantastic, because there are so many incredibly expensive units that the Dark Elves can bring. Just having Fate of Unit just to melt them is just huge. Also, you know, Spirit Leech is always great to bring. You know, it's just a good spell. You know, whittles down heroes, fantastic. Also, he's got Necrosphinx, so the Necrosphinx huge anti-large, but there's not a huge amount of anti-large knocking around. But he will be able to focus down Malekith pretty well, presumably. So you know, very expensive, but he can pack a wallop. So if we have a quick look at his stats, 550. Weapon strength with armor piercing and anti-large. That is brutal. If Malekith is on a dragon and he got caught by this thing, he'd take a ton of damage. But yeah, and he wouldn't be able to get away so well because he's so big and cumbersome. But Cold One should do okay, you know. Should be able to pick the engagements he wants. So let's speed things up because, well, they've got some distance to travel, don't they? Both very plodding units here. So those very plodding armies. So here you can see Arcan the Black coming up straight away. He knows he's got the maneuverability. There's no cavalry that he can see nearby, so he doesn't have to worry too much about, you know, running up close nice and early. So Fate of Unit comes down on the Blackguard, and that is going to do a ton of work. That is really going to hinder these Blackguard a lot. So that's going to hurt. So you can see some infantry starts peeling off in different areas. So I think these guys charge in next. Yeah, you can see them, and the rest are following up. So yeah, really rough though. Look at that, half health, 1 cast. Still pretty high models, but you know they're going to take a lot of damage. So it's pretty rough, especially with the chariots coming in here. That's going to hurt. So you can see he's really trying to just collapse this end because this will give him so many more units to come around and flank. So he charges in with the Necrosphinx and changes his mind last minute. He decides he's going to come in here, do some damage to the Hargnath Executioners by the looks of it. But Blackguard is starting to follow up. So here you can see the skeleton chariots ran in here and almost completely wiped out these bleak swords. Still high model count, but the amount of damage is tremendous. And now the Ashabti are following up, it's pretty rough. So here you can see the Cold War Knights are starting to come around, which is great. The Necrosphinx is headed for Malekith, which is definitely going to hurt. So here you can see the Cold War Knights are going to get a really good rear charge here, and immediately they start, sort of wavering here. Obviously, it's critical binding rather than wavering with the undead. And now these guys are crumbling. So also these other Cold War Knights seem to be headed for the chariots. The chariots, like all the other units, they are going to get healing from the Tomb King's whatever their special thing is called. I can't remember now. Realm of Souls, is that right? I think so. Anyway, so they're going to get healing from that too. The Necrosphinx won't, however. So here you can see Malekith has actually charged the Necrosphinx, but he's used Word of Pain on him, which has actually put his melee attack down to 0, which is unbelievable. Okay, back to 3 because of the buff from Arcan. But this is ridiculous. 0 melee attack, so there's nothing this guy can do right now. And because he's losing this fight so, like, horrifically, it's affecting his leadership. So we look at his leadership, that's gone down to 0. So Soul Stealer comes down as well, so that's going to affect his leadership. It's going to be doing a lot of damage, and Malekith is just getting free HP back from this. So unbelievably good use of spells here. Word of Pain is still going, which is just unbelievable. That spell lasts for ages. So another hit from Malekith. The Blackguard are on top of it. It's just going to get taken out straight away. I mean, look at this. It's crumbling already. It's about to go down. And there we go. One dead Necrosphinx. Malekith took almost no damage. So that's horrific. So now Ninjahund is doubling back here with Arcan to try and back up this this engagement here. You can see, despite only having 26 models, they still have a fair bit of leadership here, which is insane. So Blackguard, just so sturdy, even against all these Tomb Guard and Skeleton Warriors, they don't care. They're still fighting. Those are the ones that got Fate Abunid at the start. They're still going. So here, Arcan uses a great spell here. It's the Liber Mortis ability, gives plus 44 physical resist for all of this stuff while this big bubble is here, which is fantastic. It's really going to keep these guys going, especially with all sort of anti-large and stuff in here. Fighting the Ashabti, it's going to keep the Ashabti alive a lot to be able to, do some sort of armor-piercing damage in return. So it's definitely going to help. So pretty great. So here another load of infantry is coming in, and on this side you see the infantry. The Skeleton Warriors all got wrapped up, and now, I mean, these guys are crumbling. Cold War Knights have rampaged, some more are coming back. These guys also got Fate Abunid, so they got pretty much wiped out straight away, but they're coming back. And here you see another Soul Stealer is going to come down, and because of all these low model, sort of units, Malekith's going to get a lot of healing out of this. And it's going to do a fair bit of damage. And with all this armoured stuff in here, I mean, the Hargad Executioners have taken some punishment, as have the Blackguard, but these guys are still healthy. Some more Bleak Swords coming in here. More Bleak Swords coming in to flank these guys. Finally, it looks like the Blackguard might be wavering, but now there's a load of Bleak Swords, which should do okay against these Skeleton Warriors. And he's run out of those heals now. The Tomb Kings, they don't have any more of that, any more things that can proc. So, yeah, he calls it a day. He realises there's no way out of this. There's just no chance. Having the Necrosphinx die that quickly is just amazing. Absolutely incredible. So you can see, even in a sort of a matchup which seems unfavourable, you don't really want Malekith to be fighting a Necrosphinx, but using spells well can win you any engagement, because frankly, a lot of people will just throw something, at a specific unit, knowing that it can kill that unit, but they don't always take into account spells, and they don't realise how big an impact certain spells can have on the outcome of a certain fight. So that's why combined arms always works out so much better than these sort of hunter-killer tactics of get a good unit, send it to the thing you want dead. You can't leave it on its own. You can't let people go on these sort of commando missions, because it just doesn't work, with spells. And it's just amazing to see just how quickly that got turned around. I mean, Necrosphinx, 2,000 quid, barely dented Malekith, only got 13 kills. Unbelievable. It just got completely wiped out, which I just think is fantastic. Arcan the Black, I think, is a good pick. He did pretty well. The Fate of unit is obviously always just fantastic. And it's fantastic against these kinds of units. So, and that's what was being relied on a lot. So definitely helped. So you can see one unit of Cold One Knights, only one kill because it got Fate of unit, ended up running away. Also Blackguard, I've got a feeling this was the one actually. 131 kills, got Fate of unit, had a Tomb Guard and 2 Skeleton Warriors fighting it. Absolutely insane. Blackguard are so resilient. So really rough. I think Dark Elves do have an advantage in this matchup generally. Because, even if you did go with sort of a Dark Shard heavy army, they can chew through big monsters very easily, especially if you use things like cold ones defensively, just to sort of stop a big monster and then kill it with dark shots very quickly. You know, there's a lot of ways the Dark Elves can do well against Tomb Kings, just because they have so much armor piercing, and they can bring all kinds of different units with decent armor piercing, which seems a little bit unfair, really, for the poor Tomb Kings. But I think it's great. I think it would have been good to see some halberds in here, sort of help against the cavalry, or even just cheap spearmen, just to help, you know, screen. But there was no real anti-large here. The only anti-large was the Necrosphinx, and he was relying on Arcan to use Fata Buna for sort of dealing with cavalry and things. But it would have been good just to have some spearmen, I think, in this army. So the skeleton chariots, I think, you know, did a lot of damage. The kills don't really show how good they did, because they got, you know, so many units down to like half health. But yeah, they did pretty well. I think they're a good pick. I think skeleton chariots, we'll see a lot of them, sort of in, you know, other matches. But you've got to be careful with them. If they get singled out or bogged down, they'll die almost straight away. They are very flimsy, but they have the mass just to charge through infantry, and they will do so much damage with those high models. You know, just so many chariots just hurting everything nearby. You know, you can do crazy damage to cheap infantry. So yeah, they become very good value. So yeah, I really like it. So anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this, please do comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys.